Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for another episode of the Scars and Wisdom series. And this is really a conversation space where we honor the truth of what we've lived through and the wisdom that lives in us now because of it. And today I'm so excited to be talking with my friend Katy Parker. Katy, do you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself and let everybody know what you're up to in the world?
Yeah, so hello from England. And you're playing really hot in sunny England. Yes, my name is Katy Parker. I am a writer and an author and a mental health coach and grieving loss coach. And yeah, I come from Slovakia. You might hear the accent, and this kind of is a mix of accents, I would say, because I live now for longer out of the country where I was born. Yeah. And I used to live in Germany, so you probably can hear lots of different accents. So, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a whole melting pot of different
Yeah.
accents and
Yeah.
cultures.
European.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Katie. I know that you're going to have some great insights to share on our call today. So, the series is called Scars and Wisdom, and we're really talking about some of those scars, those wounds that left the scar, but then turned into wisdom. So, why don't you share with us what those scars have been for you?
Yes, I'm as well a trauma survivor and chronic pain warrior. So I went through lots of trauma in my life. And since my childhood, I went and my parents were divorced. My dad was alcoholic. I'm a rainbow baby as well. So my man lost a child before me. I lost my mom as well over a decade ago. And 4 years ago, I had a very bad accident, a traumatic accident, was diagnosed with PTSD as well. Yeah, really. I think it's been quite a roller coaster in my life. But I have been as well amazing husband and a support I did find. So yeah, there have been scars, but as well, beauty, just life bring everything. Yeah.
Yes. So, how old were you when your mom passed away?
So that was 13 years ago. Oh, so I was still very young.
Yeah.
And yeah, I lost my mom, and that's something. As I said, I come from Slovakia, so my mom lived in Slovakia, and I was already at the time in England. And so that's been in this grief. That's been really a lot of guilt as well, and shame and blame. Really, everything. Because my mom was ill. She got a cancer. When she got cancer first time, I went home for, I think, 2 months or so. And so as long as she needed, I was there. And then we were thinking it was under control. And 4 years later, I came again in different place. And then it just went all over her body. And I was in those years, actually, in those 4 years, I was going home every 6 weeks or so. So my mom, I had a job, and that was intentionally. I had a job that allowed me to go home so often to see her and be with her. But what happened, I had a ticket to go to see my mom 2 days after she passed away. Yes, because it's supposed to be it was just a week before Easter or so. And that day when she passed away, I was in a hospital myself in England. I was supposed to have an operation. And yeah, operation, like I was waiting for ages and fell asleep. Like they gave me the hospital gown, everything. I got dress changed and the bed. And I fell asleep on the bed. And then I got up. I had a dream of an angel. And I got up and I was thinking, wow, so what time is it actually? Do I already have the operation or no? Like I really fall asleep so hard. And then I was going to check my phone for just see the time. Right? And we did a phone call, like phones, and there's we can see the first, like in a message, you can see the first line or so. And I could see the first line. And there was my brother saying, Katy, mom is in coma. And I just saw this and I was like, what? I was actually scared to open the message and read it. I was like, no, please not. Please not. Like, I'm supposed to go home in 2 days. Please not. My dad was staying with mom. And they did agreement that he will be staying there until I was able to come and take care of her. And then, yeah, I went to the toilet. I went to the bathroom. Yeah. I opened the message and Yeah, my brother was actually quick to say, yeah, I don't know how long she's going to be and what is it going to be, but she's in coma. And I was like, no, I need to go home like now. Like I need to go home now, really. But I didn't know if I just then should I just run away from hospital or how do I do it? Because I was supposed to have an operation. And then luckily there were nurses. I did find some nurses I could speak to. And wait a minute, because we're having it so hot here.
I don't want you to get too hot. Are you sure? Because it's not too
The
noisy.
traffic. No, but the traffic. I really want to concentrate. I want to, as well listeners, to be able to what I say. Yeah, and as I said, yeah, I was able to find some nurses. I told them what happened, and they were like, "Yeah, of course, just go." They were actually so lovely. They were like, "Should we phone like the hospital?" And I was like, "Unfortunately, it's not in this country. I need to go to Slovakia." So my husband was able to, no, my husband then, so my boyfriend was able to find the last ticket home. So then quickly home, packed. I was just like, oh, a funeral. So yeah, and we were off to the airport. And we had a bit of time, so I had to get some, he made me some food, so I ate something what he made for me, and also getting some drink. And as I was waiting for him, he went to get a cup of tea, and so I got a phone call. And I knew what will come. He was my auntie, and I was like, please, not, please, God, not. I'm Christian as well, so I was like, oh, please, God, no. If you can, just please not. But yeah, my auntie was like, Katy, like, where are you? I'm like, I'm at the airport. I was like, no, please don't say it. I was like, just please don't say it. I look at my boyfriend and I just shook my head. I was like, no, I didn't make it. I didn't make it. It was awful because I still had to. So was the flight ahead of me and a train journey as well, a long train journey. So by the time I got home, that was the worst journey I had ever made. And yeah, I didn't make it. And that guilt lived with me forever. So there was so much guilt and disgrace to blame myself. And it was actually stage when you already blame yourself. And I would talk to everybody who perhaps goes through some hard time, but everybody, we're all going through a hard time. And I know there were other grievers in the family. But when somebody says to you, where have you been? Why haven't you been here? It adds to your guilt. It just confirms that, yes, it's your fault. And so I lived with this guilt and shame and blame for many years until I had accident myself and I had to deal with it all. Because I just bottled up everything. And I was thinking, okay, it's your fault and that's it. But the truth is now working so much in a mental health area. And so I know, and in grief and loss area, I know that guilt often comes with grief, but it is because it is easier to blame ourselves than actually accept it. You could not have done anything. Even if I put the time, I couldn't change it. The reality is, if you'll always be like this, the consequences were just the result where I couldn't change those results. Couldn't change what happened, and I haven't caused it. And I want to answer everybody else. I'm going through this. That you haven't caused it, and you cannot blame yourself for it. It was hard, but I had to learn it, and it took me many years. As I said, my mom passed away 13 years ago now. But yeah,
Made me cry, Katie.
yeah, I know it's not easy. It's not
It's
easy. So you had to learn just to live with it. So yeah. Mm.
yeah. I think what I want everyone to hear from what Katie just shared, and this has come up in almost every interview I've done so far, is this piece about the guilt and the shame.
Mm.
And I think I'm getting emotional because I've worked through that, but it still brings me right back to those feelings as well. And the guilt and the shame, like Katie said, there's two parts to it. It's could we have done something? The woulda, coulda, shoulda that would have resulted in them still being here. That's when we're ruminating, we're having those thoughts. At the end of that thought, it's always, and then they would still be here, right? But that part we can't control. Your sweet dear mom had cancer and she was going to pass away. My mom had dementia, she was going to pass away. And the Katie said our mind would rather attach the blame because our mind hates uncertainty more than anything. And so instead of sitting in a state of uncertainty, if they're like, if we blame, then at least that gives some illusion that there's control in the situation. And there's not. We know that. There's just not. And so that's one part of the guilt and the shame. The other part is all those things that we regret, right? It's the regrets of what I didn't do, what I didn't, when I didn't show up, when I didn't call, when I didn't, all of those things. And that's the part that takes a lot more tender, loving care with your heart because those things are in our control for the most part, right? A lot of that's in our control. And so I think for me, for sure, it was like, how do I learn from these things so that I don't keep feeling that feeling over and over again? And also giving ourselves grace. I think it's the opportunity for us to really start to give ourselves grace, which we're not really good at doing, right? We're our own worst critics. And so we focus on all the things we didn't do. That's our mind just goes right to those places. But when you really sit back and think, it's like, what are all the things I did do? Or what about all the times I was there? All the times that I balanced living my life and you living your life, and we were still showing up and we were still letting our parents or our loved ones know that they mattered, that they meant the world to us. And that one takes a little bit more. For me, it took a lot more time to really wrap my head and my heart around that.
Yeah. My kind of like that my kind of consolidation was that 6 weeks before that I was at home and I told my mom how much I love her. I think that was something that at least I said it. I said it. I said it and I know she knew it. And did I want to be there? And so it's more kind of, as I said, we cannot change it. I couldn't change it. It is bit more for myself. More than anything, really, it would be just for myself that is, yeah, I was sad. But really, and it's funny because how you said like about this, that we could have done this and that. And I didn't talk to my brother and I really knew to them, blaming myself. And he said to me, look at it, because we spoke together like that week and he said first, yeah, I'm still well, but then it's better. And then it was like this already before and it was fine. And you coming in a couple of days, it's all fine. And yeah, he said to me, you blame yourself that you weren't here. I could say, then I should blame myself for not telling you to come a day earlier, 2 days earlier, or whatever. I, but I didn't know. I'm not a doctor. And so I was like, exactly. So he said, I don't think you should blame yourself because I could just blame myself. And we always find something that we could blame ourselves for. Whatever it is, they always
So many
will
reasons.
something.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes.
They always
So many
will something.
reasons.
Mm.
So I've had the opportunity, fortunately, to talk to people that experience grief in different cultures. So I would love to understand in your culture in Slovakia. Did I say that right? No.
You done it.
I did?
Sometimes.
What does grieving look like? Is it the same as what you experience in the UK, or is it different?
This is more in part. Well, obviously, we have after my mom passed away, and I think that's a part of the grieving we don't really talk about is like how much you have to do afterwards. Like, oh, you're going to grieve, and then it's all those things you have to. Oh, and we had a house as well. We sold a house as well, and it wasn't easy, but like all those things, there's a bills to pay. There's like all those things you need to go through, and then obviously the funeral itself and call people and stuff. Luckily, my uncle helped us as well with this, and we brought my parents even younger than that. Hence, they really, we were quite young then, and I still am. I feel sad. Obviously, we were younger then, but you know. it wasn't easy. And then a funeral in Slovakia is we had it quite soon after. So my mom passed away, and like in 2 days later, there was a funeral already. So yeah, and like when I said I packed all funeral things and packed black things, that's what we were in black clothes. And see, it's like how it changed because before, or it's now still the older generation, I think, would wear black for the whole year, like honor the loved ones, and not so much younger ones, but it used to be like that, the tradition that he would wear. And so there's like, there's the other thing, what I kind of, because I mentioned how some people reacted, and I unfortunately lost as well. And my mother-in-law will be 2 years in September. And so my husband is British, and we were that time away. And again, similar to my mom, we were supposed to come to see my in-laws in a few days. But we were away, and my husband saw his mom before that. Then we went away, and she passed away in the meantime, unfortunately. And I don't know if it's a cultural thing or honestly individual things, but the people had the reactions to this, even though we weren't there, it was very different reaction of people to me not being. There were no questions like why you weren't here, where you were, or kind of things like this. There were more, you couldn't do anything about it, even if you were here. It's don't blame yourself and things like that. I know certain will grieve themselves and it's hard. But that's why I'm working now on a book as well on grief and loss because I want to tell people as well what perhaps not to say, even if we had heard what not to tell others. So, and being a Christian as well. And I think that's probably, don't know if this is different or this is probably the whole world. You get sometimes people say, oh, but she's not in a better place or things like this. And it does hurt, when people say it at the time. And what else would irritate me first when my mom got cancer, she herself would say things like, things happen for a reason. And that was really something when it really just, I would be like, Mom, why are you saying this? Like, how can you say this? There's no reasoning this what is happening to you. And it was really cross with her saying this either. And I would not say anybody who goes through grief did things happen for a reason. I learning to live with it and so I myself now believe that there is some kind of thing, the reason or whatever you want to call it, in in those things that happen to us. So we find a purpose or meaning and stuff. Obviously, like it's not something I would tell anybody who goes through grief and who lost loved ones or anything really valid or valuable and anything dear to them. But I can see now, perhaps I can understand perhaps why my mom said those words.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand now as well why she said it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a recurring topic that comes up about what to say and what not to
Mm.
say. I actually wrote an ebook called After the Service to help the supporters because, so many comments from people that are grieving saying that I feel so alone. I feel so isolated. There's a flurry of support. And then after the service, everyone goes on with their lives. And that's when the grief really starts to
Mm.
hit. And you're in shock, even if you know it's coming. Like, even with my mom, like, I knew she was going to pass away. She had dementia. I knew she was going to pass away. I was grieving her for several years because I was losing her
Mm.
every day. Every day I lost my mom. But there's a finality to it that no matter how prepared you are or how much you know what's coming, the finality hits you. And then if it's sudden, of course, then that throws your whole world into complete disarray because you're not expecting it. We talk a lot about what people shouldn't say. I'll tell you for me what was the most beneficial thing, and maybe you could share yours too, because I think we have to take it another step further because people are saying, okay, we're hearing you about what we shouldn't say, but what should we say? And it's we don't wanna give people, like, this prescriptive I to make it so difficult and complicated that you can say this, but don't say this, but say this to this person, but
Mm,
don't say this to that person, because then that's why people just say nothing, because it becomes a very complicated to weave all that together. So for me, there were no words actually that anybody said that I took offense to. It was the silence that I noticed. The people that said nothing, that's what stood out. For me, the most comforting things were just telling me about what they loved about who I lost with my sister, with my dad, and with my mom. Just saying, this is what my mom was a teacher. I
mm.
had a lot of people that she taught reach out to me and just say, this is what your mom meant to me. And this is how she helped me in my life. And just sharing the memory and sharing the things that other people really loved and appreciated about the person that we lost, it was the most comforting thing to me to hear. With my dad, he was a huge golfer, so all of his golfing buddies were sharing stories, and he was a character, so I loved hearing about all the shenanigans and the antics that he was part of. My sister was such a caring, loving person, so all the people that reached out and said times that even though she was going through something hard in her life, that she showed up for them, that's what mattered, that's what
Yeah.
really comforted me. So what about you? What were some of the things that you found real comfort in?
I think similar to you, as you say, like adult stories really about our loved ones. And that's why it's, I think, so important. That's why I founded and created a Peace Stories project as well, Peace Stories series, because I believe we should pass the stories on generation and generation. So, yeah, as well. And the people know about our loved ones. And I think that's really important. Then as well, I'm a very huggy person. I think a hug is something what, even if there are no words, but just sit with me honestly. And I just want to know to be with me there in presence. I just need a hug and just let me cry if I need to cry. And just really, I think, be there for me. Then it's quite good, like you said, that sometimes people, maybe because they don't know what to say or so don't say anything. When my mother-in-law then passed away, and just even before that, as eventually anticipatory grief, 'cause it was quite quick with my mother-in-law. It was like 3 months from the time we did find out she got a cancer. So, and then she passed away. And I was, and those 3 months, I think I was very much doubting myself because before that, as I said, my accident as well. So 4 years before it, I had, now it will be 5. So then it was about 3 years or so. Before that, I had a very bad accident. And my husband was always there for me, like even when my mom passed away as my boyfriend and so my partner, and then as well my husband when I was going through the recovery. And I was worried that I would not be able to be the support that he needed. I was really thinking, oh, but what if he was so great, really the support I needed? What if I won't be able to? And I think sometimes we overthink those things. We think, oh, we need to do all those things, like we need to fix it for them or something. No, but we cannot fix it. That's the thing. We just really just think for them. We don't have to overcomplicate it thing. Really, we don't have to. It doesn't have to be, I don't know, however big things on with water. As I say, sometimes just the feelings that you are there for them, like holding his hand or so. So really, but I did say to him, like, I said, I'm just worried that I won't be able to. And then he said, I think if you're worried, you probably will be great. Because you already have this thing, like, how do I? It's just be there. You don't have to turn it down. It's like, no, I cannot fix it. I just so would want to, but I know I cannot because I went through this myself. And I know whatever people say, it just would not fix it. Nothing will give me my mom back or so. And it's,
There's no perfect words. The
yeah,
presence,
it's
like you
hard.
said, yeah, the
Mm,
presence is really what is comforting because there's no word, right? There's absolutely no word
mm,
truly that's gonna bring them back. And so I think just getting back to what you said, simplicity with this and just showing people your heart, showing how much, that person meant to you and what they meant to you. And I hear it over and over again. So I think that's pretty representative of people in grief that they're saying, share your favorite memory, share what they meant to you, and just be present. And
Yeah.
that's really
That's as well. But it seems like AI today now, it some takes like I know when a close friend lost somebody dear to them, and I was sending a message like one day and the next day again, and then a week later again, even though there was no response on the reply. But I was like, I don't care. Like I'm not expecting. Sometimes like we expect, oh, if they don't let me know what you need or just respond to my messages, that's it's okay. You don't have to. But I just want to let you know a week later and so that I'm still thinking of you. And now it's even helping you now to love them inside. Still sometimes it might not be as often as it was then, but I'm still thinking of you. Like you're not alone with this. I'm still thinking of you. Even if you don't respond. So I just want you
that's
to know.
such an important thing that
Mhm.
you just said. And I also want to make sure that everyone hears that is we have to take all expectations off the table because
Mhm.
when we're talking to somebody, especially in that early, like I call it free fall period of grief, we can't come up with any of the things that we need. We can't, our brain is going through so much, our body's going through so much that we can't, it's very difficult to come up with an answer to that question. Let me know what you need.
Yes,
Even the
yeah.
obligation to respond, right? You look at your phone and you like these wonderful caring messages, and even to put words into a text message or a phone call is overwhelming. And
Mhm.
so I love that you said you weren't expecting anything and you really weren't expecting anything. Because I've talked to people who have said that. And then a few weeks later, when they haven't heard from the person, you can tell they're really taking it personally. And so it's hard for me because they're not responding. And
Yeah.
but this isn't about you. This is about them and what they need.
Because like I was a little bit first worried if they're all right, if they like
Sure. Worry. Yeah.
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 But I was like, it's okay, I'm sure. Like my husband is very much kind of the factual guy who was just say, should they fine? I was like, I think they are. Yeah, I'm sure they're fine. They probably just too much. It's fine. Yeah, I understand sometimes being worried about like, are they all right? Or I just phone them if they're all right. And then don't bring your phone or so. It's like, no, I'm sure it's fine. It's fine. They just because we all deal with grief differently. Like I as well, somebody who was the type that needed to talk about it. And so I would phone them and talk to them and so. But then the partner was exactly the opposite. And they would even say to me, like, no, don't, like, better don't come to visit us because she just doesn't want to see anybody or so. And it's all right. And as long as they were thinking, like, but has she got it? Like, yeah, she has got me and she's fine. They need to talk about it to me. And so, like, okay, because I think it's good to talk about it. But I know that we don't always want to talk to like strangers or to many people or so. So as long as you have at least one person who you know is there for you and you find to talk to, that's it's fine. So I was like, okay. So as long as I know she got you and she talked about it and say it's all right. But yeah, we all dealing with it pretty different. Some people they don't really want to talk about it. Some people want to talk about it, and it's fine. It's fine, both things. We just need to there's so much acceptance, and that's why I'm glad acceptance is not just need to accept it. Everybody grieves differently, and it's all right. We can still send a message so bad. Don't expect, as I said, yeah, especially the people who perhaps don't really want to even talk about it. And so maybe one day they will. There
Mm.
will come a time when they will be, and they might actually be fine and even want to hear things about their loved ones. So, but we
Very
we all
unique.
have a different and
Yes.
they're all unique. So we just need to really respect this as well. Yeah. And then obviously can always like, I don't know, send them, I don't know, voucher for dinner or something. I don't know if you cannot then send them dinner or something. And yeah, do things like this. I mean,
Yeah.
they're always practical things as well you can do.
Grief is very practical. For anybody who's not been through this, it's very practical, especially in those early days. And yeah, anything like go mow someone's lawn for them, or just pick up groceries and drop them off and just
Mhm.
text, "There's groceries on your doorstep," right? Pick up laundry. Like, those are the things, like, if you really wanna show up for somebody and the person is wanting some help, it's the practical things that I don't think people realize sometimes how practical grief really is.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
think probably because you were talking, sorry, I was just saying, because you were talking about dementia and so on. I think it's sometimes worse with those living losses like dementia. Not that I want to compare them also, because every grief is, every loss is different. So, but I'd say in a way, Kate, that they perhaps you don't have the lasagna at the door or not sympathy car or cannot not those things. And but you're still going through loss. As you said, every day you were losing a loved
yeah,
one. Yeah, that's another hard thing. Yeah.
so many dynamics to grief. It's really one of the most complicated
Mm.
experiences that we go through. So we've talked about some of your scars and just wanted to pivot to the wisdom. So what can you share with everybody regarding what wisdom you did learn from those really difficult experiences that you went through?
But yeah, one thing that they actually haven't really told so much, but I want to speak about them. And I started it earlier. I had the living losses. So I want people to know, because I'm working now on a book about living losses as well. So I just want people to know that there's so many different losses and so many different types of grief. Many times, like in my mom, there was often, like I said, this 13 years, and oh, are you still grieving? Well, it's yeah, because I still don't have my mom here. I'm sorry, so of course. With the living losses, it's often things like the word at least. At least you are alive. So I lost my house because 4 years ago I had a bad accident. I was coming home from work and I was crossing the road when a car hit me. So my colleague hit me with her car and I was in hospital because I couldn't even move then. And so it took me 2 weeks in hospital. They did and found out that I had fracture vertebrae. So I hit my head. And but and I was diagnosed later with PTSD as well. What I didn't know, John, at that time, I was experiencing grief as well. It was 2.5 years later when I had a psychologist home. And actually, when my husband was losing his mom, I was looking at him and something just suddenly, and suddenly the bulb switched on. I was like, I recognize this, but he is going through all this mixes of emotion, but not just when my mom passed away, but more recently. Like, I'm going through this now. And so I was thinking, but surely, like, I cannot even compare it. Like, his mom is dying and nobody died in the accident. So just stop even having those thoughts, like, start to judge myself. No, like, honestly, just stop even, oh gosh, don't even dare to say it loud or something like this. And that's after we compare which one is the worst grief and so which one is worse the loss. And then really, all losses are different, but they're all valid, I would say.
All valid.
And so
All valid.
that is to my psychologist, and she said to me, Katy, you're going into grief. And I'm like, no, nobody died in my accident. She said, but you have lost something, haven't you? And I was like, wow, I
Mm,
have. And not just one thing. I lost my hope and now I lost my job. I lost my life. I used to have some people, they were in my life and so I'm not anymore. So I was like, wow, so many losses.
so many.
Like, with the loss of a person comes so many secondary losses as well. So it's his expectations we have, the identity we have, everything gone. And everything gone in one minute, really, one
Yeah,
second. And those secondary losses are all living losses. We don't really talk about this often because, as I said, we often fall in a comparison kind of trap. And often is, oh, I can surely not even say it because we think that not valid to ourselves, but our pain is valid. Whatever losses they have, like, you shouldn't really compare the losses because it's not a competition. No, trauma or pain, but not competition. So you
right.
should be judging that as and So I think that's really I think my words, what I have learned to, there's so many different losses and we can really just not judge other people and not even ourselves because um, it's not easy and judging ourselves is not healthy. Or we really need to validate what we're going through, name it, what we're going through, and then we
Amen.
process it.
Yep.
Then we're able to move forward with it. And now, when I say this, people might go, "Oh, okay, I can't move on or whatever." I'm not talking move on with it. You move forward with it. So you never forget. Like I cannot forget what happened to me because I live with pain. I'm a chronic pain warrior now. Every day I know there was a loss. Something happened to me. And so I will never forget my mom because she's never here. I cannot have those phone calls with her. Just some long evening talks and stuff. I cannot have those things anymore. See, we sometimes think, oh, forget it, we move forward. No, that's not what I'm saying. We move forward honoring those losses, but there is as well we can see as well, just as I never as just like my mom said that, and I say now I can understand her words. Those things happen for a reason. That like we can see there's something deep as well in this. So I did find the meaning in it. No, and I'm not saying like there should be surely different ways to be honest to find that meaning. And I would so love to have it. But unfortunately, that was the way I had to go through and we how to go through because we can't really delete the pain from the our world. There's just something that will happen, unfortunately. But we can find meaning in it. And that meaning really comes with acceptance, I think. And as I said, acceptance doesn't mean that, that yeah, we are all right, whatever would happen. We might never be all right what happened. We might never have the questions. We might never have the answers to our questions. So yes, we might never be all right. But it's a reality we cannot change. I had that accident, those things happened to me. I lost my health, my life looks different. I don't have my man next. I lost my childhood as well. My dad was alcoholic and sure that I had to learn that I had to as well grieve things that I didn't have. And all those things is all different kind of losses. But I just have to accept it. Sometimes days the time will be hard, days will be hard. I'll be in tears and that's okay. I'm not trying to judge my feelings. But
No, it's very normal. Like,
mm,
I'm so glad you're bringing light to this living losses. And because when we don't do grief very well when it comes to death.
mm,
And so you can imagine how we handle grief when
yeah,
it's not death, right?
yeah,
It's even further removed down the scale of what gets to be permission, right? What people
yeah,
give permission for, which is something that I know we're both trying really hard to
mm,
break that. But every change you have in your life is really loss. Change is loss, and loss has grief, right? And so the sooner that we can start to really expand our definition and our thinking and our allowance of what is considered grief, that, like you said, the sooner then we can name those things. And it's when we can name them, then we can actually start to process them and
yeah,
heal. And like you said, move forward with all the lessons and the learnings and the memories and honoring
yeah,
as we go, right? It's not one or the other. It's integration that really is what's needed. So
and
thank you so much for joining us today, Katie. I love what you're doing. I'm going to get your information for grief stories so I can put it in the description for when I load this into YouTube because I really want people to have that access and to follow you and see what you're doing with your books and just continuing to be a pain warrior, but an advocate for grief too. And I just am in awe of everything that you're doing in the world. So thank you so much. Really appreciate
uh,
you.
thank you so much for having me. You can find my journey smiling, my blog as well, Journey of Smiley. And then there's a link as well to the grief stories because grief stories are on Substack. But as I said, on my blog, Journey of Smiley as well, just to say my Journey of Smiley, because if you notice, I do smile a lot. And my mom used to call me sometimes Smiley or Sunshine when I walked into the hospital when she was, and she
I
was with
love
that.
that.
Oh, there's my Smiley, my sunshine just coming, bringing the
That's so
yeah.
beautiful.
So it was like, yeah, I shared my journey of hope and healing And you can find as well about our book as well. And see a good collaborative book. And I'm working on my own solo book on the living losses and secondary losses that we're going through. That, as you said, we don't really talk about it often, and they do need more acknowledgement, I believe. So
Yeah.
people don't think they are crazy, but they know they grieve, and this is totally normal. So yeah, and I'm so grateful to all the grievers who are sharing their stories and my grief stories, and as well to the trauma survivors who are sharing their stories in my PD. Is in my story project. I just believe in storytelling. I'm so grateful for reaching out to you as well because I believed in, as we were talking about the stories and stuff about our loved ones, and I believe there is power in stories. So I really, my book Century No Smile is really a community thing with like lots of different projects with people from all around the world can join. And as I say, I'm so grateful to those people who do join. And if anybody who is listening to us today would love to join, just yeah, come yeah, email me, contact me, and I'll I'm sure we can do something together. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. All right. Thanks, everyone. We really appreciate you joining us for this beautiful conversation. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank